This is the latest revelation in a wave of discoveries over the past 25 years.
In the vast expanse of the universe, secrets lie hidden, waiting to be unraveled. Amongst the countless stars that adorn our night sky, one has captivated astronomers and stargazers for centuries. Betelgeuse, the majestic red giant known as the shoulder of Orion, Betelgeuse has mesmerized us with its sheer size and fiery brilliance. But something extraordinary is happening in the depths of space, a cosmic event of epic proportions that is sending shockwaves throughout the scientific community. In a stunning revelation, the James Webb Space Telescope has detected a sudden surge in Betelgeuse's luminosity. A jaw-dropping 250% increase in brightness has ignited the scientific community, raising countless questions about the nature of this celestial phenomenon.
It's very unstable. It's about to explode.
No, I've heard to give me the timescale for that.
Well, the thing is, it could be tomorrow. It could be during this broadcast, and it would shine like a second sun in the sky.
What could be the cause of this sudden surge? And could the Betelgeuse be on the verge of going supernova? This incredible leap in brightness challenges everything we thought we knew about the life cycles of stars. So, join us as we embark on an intriguing quest to comprehend the enigma of Betelgeuse's sudden 250% surge in brightness. Betelgeuse, a magnificent star, has recently become much brighter. Even if you don't know its name, you've probably noticed this shining reddish dot on the shoulder of the Orion constellation, which is quite famous. Right now, Betelgeuse is incredibly large. To give you an idea, if we were to place it at the center of our solar system, its outer surface would extend beyond Jupiter's orbit. This colossal star continues to capture our attention because it is easily visible and undergoes noticeable changes. Unlike most stars, this Orion's shoulder brightness fluctuates, sometimes dramatically. This is because it is relatively close to our galaxy. Betelgeuse falls under the category of a semi-regular variable star, meaning its brightness changes as it steadily approaches its inevitable grand collapse in a supernova explosion. Despite already being highly noticeable, this star has become even more fascinating in recent years due to unexpected fluctuations in brightness that scientists have yet to comprehend fully. These changes started with an event in 2020 called the Great Dimming, which we'll discuss later. As a result, the closest red giant star to Earth now pulsates twice as fast as usual, casting a vibrant glow in the evening sky of the southern hemisphere. This peculiar behavior of one of the brightest stars offers valuable insights to scientists studying the final stages of stars as Betelgeuse rapidly transitions between states of brightness and dimness. Recently, this supergiant star has occasionally appeared over 50% brighter than its usual state. On May 20th, 2023, a Twitter account named Beetlebot shared some exciting news. They reported that Betelgeuse had become much brighter, increasing its brightness by an astonishing 142%. Later updates even showed a larger increase of 150%. Astrophysicist Andrea Dupree from the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics confirmed that the supergiant star is now the seventh brightest star in the night sky, a significant jump from its usual position at number 10. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you can easily spot it shining brightly in the early evening. Just look for it on the shoulder of the Orion constellation. As the days get shorter in the northern hemisphere, you'll also have the opportunity to observe it. Dr. Sarah Webb, an astrophysicist from Swinburne University of Technology in Australia, explains that Betelgeuse presents a unique chance to study the final stages of a massive star's life. By closely observing the star, we can learn more about what happens to red giants before they explode as supernovae. When Betelgeuse eventually explodes, it has the potential to become exceptionally bright for approximately a week, even during the daytime, and it may cast shadows at night. This extraordinary event has generated excitement among both amateur stargazers and professional astronomers. Everyone eagerly awaits the supergiant star's future supernova, which is a mere 650 light-years away, as it promises to provide us with a breathtaking view of this spectacular cosmic explosion. Heidi Morris, a Los Alamos National Laboratory scientist and president of the Pajarito Astronomers and Astronomy Club, explains that people find Betelgeuse extremely interesting. This star has been undergoing a cycle of becoming brighter and then dimmer for a long time. The pattern of changing brightness was observed by ancient Greeks and Aboriginal Australians thousands of years ago. Normally, Betelgeuse's brightness cycle lasts around 400 days. However, it has recently been changing much faster, approximately every 130 days. Andrea Dupree, a researcher studying the star, noticed this unusual behavior. The change in brightness is not typical for Betelgeuse. It began in 2019 after the star expelled a part of its outer atmosphere. It is uncertain whether these changes indicate an upcoming supernova event. This situation is new to us, and we are unsure about the outcome. Dupree, along with other scientists from Harvard and the University of California, Berkeley, anticipates that it will take another 5 to 10 years for the star to return to its usual brightness cycle. They also note that the star has exhibited different characteristics in terms of its light and movement since the dimming event. Betelgeuse is a big red supergiant star that doesn't live very long, around 10 million years, compared to our 5-billion-year-old sun. It is in its final stages of rapid change. When it runs out of fuel, its core will collapse under its own weight, causing a huge explosion that could be brighter than entire galaxies. This will definitely happen, but we don't know when. Dr. Orgrauer, an associate professor at the University of Portsmouth who studies supernovae, thinks we can't predict when it will explode, so we don't know when the star will go supernova. It's not surprising since we haven't had many supernovae to study in history, so it's unlikely that anyone alive today will see the explosion of Betelgeuse. Before it goes supernova, the star has to go through many internal changes. As a red giant star, it fuses helium into carbon and other elements like oxygen and iron. This process takes thousands of years. Eventually, the star will stop producing energy from fusion reactions and collapse under its own weight. It will become either a black hole or a neutron star. This supergiant star is currently fusing helium into carbon in its core, but we can't see what's happening inside the star. Astrophysicist Jared Goldberg from the Flatiron Institute predicts that Betelgeuse will explode, but this might not happen for another 10,000 to 100,000 years. Goldberg is cautious and wouldn't risk his career on an immediate explosion. Historical records indicate that Betelgeuse has been getting redder over the past 2,000 years, suggesting it won't explode soon. Jason Ibarra, an expert in stars and astronomy, explains this intriguing observation. So, we may have to wait a long time for Betelgeuse's explosion because it recently transformed into a red supergiant. NASA also believes that Betelgeuse won't explode for another 100,000 years. Heidi Morris suggests we shouldn't assume it will stay the same even in 10,000 years and remain attentive to scientific advancements. While it's highly unlikely we'll witness the explosion, Dr. Sarah Webb reminds us that we can't be certain, so we should remain hopeful. It's important to note that we are observing Betelgeuse in the past, as the light we see is over 600 years old. The star may have already exploded, but this isn't certain. Past experiences have shown that our expectations can be challenged, as a blue star exploded in 1987, surprising the scientific community. By studying Betelgeuse and other massive stars, we can better understand the situation and expect some surprises. Betelgeuse's current behavior, including its oscillation between dimming and flaring, reveals fascinating physics. Despite being brighter than expected, it is hoped to regain its 400-day cycle. However, there is also a possibility that Betelgeuse might explode earlier than experts previously believed. A recent study challenges what we thought about Betelgeuse's development. It suggests that Betelgeuse is nearing the end of a process where carbon is changed into heavier elements like oxygen and magnesium. This is different from what we believed. Betelgeuse is in its helium burning phase. Scientists think that after using up most of its carbon in a few decades, Betelgeuse's core might collapse, causing a big explosion called a supernova. But we should be careful because it's hard to know for sure what stage Betelgeuse is in. The study says that the core collapse will happen a few decades after the carbon is gone, making Betelgeuse a likely candidate for the next big supernova. However, we don't know exactly when the carbon will run out. Once it does, it will only take a few decades before we see the star explode. But it's tough to say if we will be alive to witness it because the carbon burning phase can last for more than 1,000 years. Also, remember that this study isn't published yet, so the findings might change. Let's imagine how amazing it would be if Betelgeuse did go supernova. What would it look like from Earth? It would be absolutely breathtaking. The last supernova we saw in our Milky Way was in 1604, but Betelgeuse is much closer, so its explosion will be incredibly bright. It's about 548 light-years away from us. Even ancient Egyptians mentioned a possible supernova describing a second sun in the sky. When Betelgeuse finally explodes, it will be an awe-inspiring sight. First, we'll notice subtle signs of the supernova coming. Neutrino particles will reach Earth, and detectors will detect them. Then, the real show will begin as high-energy photons escape from the exploding star. You won't need special equipment, just your eyes. The star will get brighter and even brighter than Venus in just a few days. It will be 10,000 to 100,000 times brighter than normal. In 1 week, Betelgeuse will be the brightest thing in the sky. When a powerful explosion occurs, the debris left behind can shine as brightly as a quarter or half of a full moon. This intense brightness concentrates on a single point of light, visible even in daylight and casting striking shadows at night. The explosion of Betelgeuse will be much brighter than Venus, which is currently the second brightest object in the night sky. Picture the amazing sight. This explosion will be a spectacular event, visible for a significant amount of time, around 100 days. Astronomers will have a unique opportunity to observe the aftermath and make surprising discoveries closely. Afterward, the star will gradually fade away over hundreds of days until it disappears. Don't worry though, with binoculars and telescopes, we'll be able to watch it for a long time. Betelgeuse's supernova won't harm humans as it is far away. In the past, such events caused noticeable changes in the sky, often seen as bad signs. This supernova would surely spark worldwide interest and discussions. Astronomer Brian Pencrace believes it could awaken people's interest in astronomy on a large scale. However, we shouldn't expect a sudden explosion like a bomb. There might be warning signs or smaller eruptions leading up to the big event. It's important to note that Betelgeuse isn't the only red supergiant in our galaxy. Other stars like Eta Carinae might explode before it. Statistically, our Milky Way should witness a supernova every 50 years. Surprisingly, we haven't seen one in the last 400 years, but have observed remnants of past explosions. So, statistically, we're due for an extraordinary cosmic event. It's just a matter of time before the next star puts on a dazzling show. It experienced a significant event in 2019 called the Great Dimming. Instead of its usual brightening and fading, the star drastically decreased in brightness. Astronomers were puzzled by this, and further research was needed to understand it. Skywatchers can easily see it from their backyards, providing valuable observations. But to gain a closer understanding of the star, scientists rely on observatories like the Hubble. Betelgeuse's brightness suddenly decreased, making people speculate about a potential supernova. This excited them, as it would be the nearest supernova ever observed. Unlike our Sun, this supergiant star has a shorter lifespan and is bound to experience a supernova, transforming into either a neutron star or a black hole. However, some experts cautioned against jumping to conclusions. They suggested that the dimming might be due to ordinary factors like a cold spot or a passing cloud of dust. Astrophysicist Miguel Montage and his team from the Paris Observatory offered an explanation for the star's dimming. They proposed two potential causes for this phenomenon and utilized a special telescope in Chile to capture clear images of Betelgeuse in 2019 and 2020. These images unveiled the reasons behind the star's brightness reduction. The researchers discovered that internal activity within the star and a dust cloud was likely responsible for the dimming. They took a unique image that displayed the star as a disk rather than a mere dot. Montage has been studying Betelgeuse for a significant period, having developed an interest in it since he was 10 years old. When viewed from the north, the images revealed a large dim spot in the bottom left of the star, which remained relatively unchanged over time, indicating a dust cloud as the cause. This dust cloud was formed by a massive explosion on Betelgeuse's surface. While stars regularly expel matter, Betelgeuse's explosion was exceptionally immense, ejecting a significantly larger amount of material compared to our Sun. The expelled chunk was likely several times heavier than our Moon. Scientists speculate that a gas bubble inside the star triggered the explosion. The star undergoes regular cycles, and approximately every 400 days, it exhibits similar events. However, the exact cause of this explosion remains unknown. Scientists continue to observe Betelgeuse to monitor its future behavior. Although unprecedented, this occurrence may be common throughout the universe. Its visibility is due to our extensive knowledge of Betelgeuse, its proximity to us, its large size, and the utilization of a powerful telescope. Scientists have discovered that Betelgeuse's brightness decline was caused by a cloud of dust originating from the star, blocking its southern region. This happened because an unusually cool convective cell cooled down the star's atmosphere, turning released gas into dust and blocking its light. Researchers analyzed images of the star and used simulations to confirm this explanation. The modeling suggests that both events occurred simultaneously. Betelgeuse is normally one of the brightest stars in the night sky. Astronomers knew it periodically dims, losing a quarter of its maximum brightness about every 425 days. However, they were surprised when its brightness dropped by an unprecedented 2/3, visible even without a telescope. In 2019, the star experienced a major outburst, blowing off a significant portion of its visible surface. This caused a massive ejection of surface mass, which is highly unusual for a normal star and was the main cause of the dimming. The amount of gas and dust ejected was about 400 billion times larger than a typical coronal mass ejection. Scientists use an analogy to explain this phenomenon. They compare it to throwing away our arms. Just as our movements would change if we lost a part of our bodies, Betelgeuse's mass ejection disrupted its internal forces. This caused a turbulent mix of plasma and magnetic fields. The turbulence could be the reason why the star is currently brighter than expected in its 400-day cycle. The star's core and stability are still recovering from this event, leading to unusual behavior like bouncing or oscillations. These observations help us understand how red stars lose mass before exploding as supernova. However, Betelgeuse's recent behavior doesn't necessarily mean it is about to explode. Astrophysicist Andrea Dupree studied Betelgeuse's behavior before and after the eruption using data from NASA's Stereo A, the Hubble Space Telescope, and other observatories. The Hubble telescope data was crucial in understanding the massive ejection of mass from the star's surface. This event, which was never observed before, allowed scientists to see the star's surface details and how it evolved in real time. The convective plume responsible for the 2019 outburst was exceptionally large, disrupting the star's usual pulsation cycle. Betelgeuse's outer layers are back to normal, but its surface still moves as it regenerates. It's like a shaky washing machine. Our sun sometimes releases small parts of its outer layer, but seeing such a big chunk blown away from a star's surface is new. Betelgeuse has interested people for thousands of years. The ancient Roman poet Horace called it Orion's troubled star over 2,000 years ago. It's bright and close to Earth, so scientists study it. It's also important in many myths and stories. Ancient humans knew about Betelgeuse. Stars like Betelgeuse that change brightness have been observed for a long time. The ancient Egyptians noticed changes in stars like Algol and Omicron Persei. Betelgeuse is connected to the constellation Orion in Greek myths, but the ancient Egyptians put it in their constellation Osiris, named after their god of the underworld. The name Betelgeuse comes from the Arabic Yadal Jawza, meaning the giant's shoulder. The star may not have always been red like it is today. The Greek astronomer Claudius Ptolemy used the word hypokeiros to describe its color, which can mean pale yellow or reddish red. This suggests the star's color might have changed over time. Aboriginal Australians knew about Betelgeuse's bright and dim cycles even before Western astronomers. They have been observing these cycles for over 65,000 years, making them possibly the first civilization to do so. Their cultural and oral records show their understanding of stars that change in brightness. Researchers discovered mentions of 3 red giant stars, including Betelgeuse, in Aboriginal traditions from South Australia. These traditions have been recorded since colonization, providing valuable insights into the history of astronomy and challenging our previous knowledge. It also highlights the impressive observational skills of Aboriginal Australians, which were often overlooked. Aboriginal traditions cover various celestial events like the rising of stars, passing comets, eclipses, auroral displays, and meteorite impacts. Reddish celestial objects hold special importance in these traditions, which may explain why these stars are highly significant. In ancient Greece, philosopher Aristotle believed that stars were constant and unchanging, a view that persisted in Western science for about 2,000 years. However, in 1596, German astronomer David Fabricius discovered the star Mira in the Cetus constellation varied in brightness, disproving this idea. In 1603, Johann Bayer named the star Alpha Orionis, thinking it was the brightest star in Orion. Even though later discoveries revealed that Rigel is the brightest star in Orion, the name Alpha Orionis remains. In the 1830s, astronomer John Herschel observed that it would sometimes appear dimmer and other times brighter compared to other stars. This finding led to the development of astrophysics, a specialized field studying the changing characteristics of stars. Betelgeuse is now classified as a semi-regular variable star with a cycle of about 5 years, which differs from the standard 400-day cycle. Humans have studied this star for ages, yet we still don't know much. It shows us there's more to uncover in the universe. Betelgeuse is just a small part of the big picture. Scientists and dreamers have taken us far into space, and we're on the edge of a new era in exploring the universe's mysteries. Thanks for watching another episode of Voyager. While you are still here, make sure to click the video on your screen for more quality content.